Hey everyone, I'm Mary Beth McAndrews from Dread Central, and I am here today with Emile Hirsch. You've seen him in so many movies, but we are here to talk about his new film, The Price We Pay. Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm very excited to talk to you about The Price We Pay. Ryuhei Kitamura is a favorite of mine, so I get hear from him that he's also a favorite of yours. So, my
Yeah.
first question is how you kind of got involved in this project.
So originally, I had actually worked with this producer, Robert Dean, on another film I'd done called Dig. And Robert emailed me and said he had this film with this amazing Japanese director. And I watched a film of his called Versus, which I
Mhm.
thought was really, it just had an amazing energy to it and excitement. And it kind of almost reminded me of like if Martin Scorsese had made like a Japanese gangster movie set in the forest or something.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was really cool. And it was like clear that he had like a dynamic energy that was going to take this script to like a level that I hoped it could hit. Like, something that's just a little bit more bonkers than your average kind of scary movie slasher kind of film.
Yeah, cool. And so you play a incredibly kind of skeezy character, and I wanted to hear more about getting into that character and becoming him and kind of giving off this like kind of really creepy energy the entire for the most like at least the first half of the movie especially.
Yeah, it was kind of like a strange role because the way it was originally written was sort of all over the place in the sense of
Oh.
I couldn't get a bead on, like, is this guy, uh, there was a little bit more of like the tough machismo, more like menacing, but like trying to be like alpha tough.
Yeah.
And as we were kind of developing the script with Ryuhei and the writer, uh, Christopher Jolly, I think we sort of found an avenue to where, Stephen Dorff kind of has that like gruff, tough, almost like John Wayne-esque kind of badass to him. But Alex, my character, he still needs to sort of be scary. But I feel like the way in was more like he's not exactly what you think a scary guy is going to be at first glance. So he kind of is like, he's almost like kind of like 80s effeminate or something. And he's kind of like fey and has glasses, which you don't really think of when you think of a tough guy. And he's got like kind of a dorky haircut and like a dorky shirt. And it's more about like, he just seems, it's honestly, with him, it's a lot more about what he says. He just says stuff to where you're very convinced that he's not an unwell person and that he's willing to take like anybody out. And it really the sort of the key in a way to the character became the lines. um
Yeah, okay.
it's a lot about what he says, and then you see that he's kind of trying to like outsmart people with his lines and sort of one up people. But it's good because Dorf's character is also kind of very good at returning fire in that way, and
Yeah.
that kind of keeps Alex, my character, at bay a lot because Dorf is actually able to respond, without kind of missing a step.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you mentioned the glasses, and the glasses become a prop. And I love the way you kind of like play with the glasses. And as someone who usually wears them, I was like, I haven't seen someone use glasses as a prop so well in a horror movie in a while. So I was just wanted to hear, I know it's small, but like working with the glasses, like kind of what was that process like for you? Or am I just reading too much into how you wore
No, no,
glasses?
no. The glasses were a major thing, and the glasses actually, to Ruhei's credit, the glasses were always in. When I
Oh,
read it,
cool.
it was like this dude's wearing glasses, and I was like, this is great. It was like an immediate. It was an immediate in, and also the shirt of like because I have the same shirt on the whole movie. It's like this kind of like black shirt with this like neon flowers, and
Yeah.
Ruhe was like really specific about finding the exact right shirt, and he really spent a lot of time on that, and we kind of went back and forth. um And it was funny at first. It's tricky because with glasses, there's like reflections, and sometimes they have to be processed in a particular way to prevent the lights from reflecting, and the camera guy like seeing himself, in his frame. But we were able to find kind of a happy medium with the glasses. And for me, Alex, he's he's just like a guy where the only reason he's successful as a criminal is that he's like crazy. It has nothing to do with him being buff or seeming tough or anything like that. It's only just because everyone knows that he's like a loose cannon.
He's like,
and
exactly, serial killer
and
vibes
it's
a little
also,
bit.
for me, what became important too is that he's a gambler. Everything for him is a gamble. So he has these dice, and he's constantly like almost looking at it like a magic 8-ball. Like when he wants to make a decision, he kind of shakes them up, and if it like confirms what he wants to do or doesn't want to do, it sort of goes along in that way. And I think that became a pretty important for understanding Alex. And it sort of makes his last, I don't want to give anything away, but it sort of makes his last kind of big scene with one of the baddies. It kind of gives it a new meaning, because that almost becomes a game as well. And only a person like Alex really understands what's going on and actually goes along with it. So it's kind of a really demented kind of final kind of piece with my character, where the gaming aspect of him kind of merges with these other characters, and he's actually a willing participant. And it's kind of twisted, but in like a fun, satisfying horror way.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to ask about that scene, not giving spoilers, but like that is such an incredibly tense part of the movie because it is a game, but you, for reasons you can't see, and there might be prosthetics involved with that.
Yeah.
And so what was that experience having like that prosthetic on your face?
I let them go on, but they had me on the gurney, and they like applied all these layers, and like you can't see, and you can't just like take it off when they
You
put it on.
can't.
Like it's on, like, so you're blinded. And I remember I was laying there on the gurney, and there were a couple people, and I picked someone. I think I picked one of the special effects artists. Honestly, I don't know who I picked because I couldn't see, but I said, here's the deal. Don't fucking leave my side right now at all. Unless we're in a take, I don't want you going anywhere. And she was like, okay. And I was like, thank you. And so like they were setting up the stuff, and she's like, I'm not leaving his side. And I was like, I really, really appreciated that, because I was crazy disoriented, could see nothing. And I'm on like a gurney, like a roller gurney, which is, it's really high off the ground. That thing, it was really high. So if you fall, like, you don't want to fall. And I'm being pushed around, and I have right away, I have no idea where I'm going. They're changing all these angles. It's definitely a few hours in that thing. But it was a challenge, and there's a certain amount of claustrophobia kind of involved, but it was cool though. It was cool.
That's awesome. And so when you were actually standing, it was like you were kind of almost your reactions, right? Because you couldn't see what you were doing and you were waving around. So I mean, did it feel kind of true to your experience of having the prosthetics on?
So some of those pieces there post I don't want to give away too much of any scene, but like there are pieces of those scenes where the prosthetic you're able to see, and then they
okay, gotcha.
And then they did layers of CG technology on top of that, so that you can't tell the difference.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because you can't be, waving around a friggin' shank, and I'm pretty coordinated with stunts, but I'm not that coordinated. I can't do like a knife fight blindfolded.
That would be incredibly impressive if you could, but understandably.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think I'd trust Tom Cruise to do that.
No, that's true. But you also work with a really incredible cast, obviously Stephen Dorff, but also Gigi Zimbardo. What was that like to work with these two incredible actors in the film?
It was fantastic. Gigi was so great and so spirited, and I think she's so wonderful in the film, and
She's a
is such a
badass.
cool she's such a cool badass female lead, and she's such a great counterpoint to me and Dorf, because
Yeah.
we all have such different energy, and I feel like she brings a much needed feminine badass energy to the film. And Dorf I've worked with before. Stephen Dorff, we worked together on Motel Life uh a while back. Geez, we played brothers in that film like 12 years ago, and we had a wonderful experience working together then. So it was great to kind of reconnect and sort of continue on. I love working with actors multiple times.
That's awesome. And so I know we talked about a difficult scene, but was there any other moments in this film that were particularly difficult for you to execute or that were particularly challenging for you as an actor?
I think, the scene with the uh Tyler Sanders character, who plays the young kid at the thing, there's an interrogation scene
Yeah.
where, I'm sort of questioning his stash of, this weird stuff I'm finding, and we end up kind of playing a twisted, demented game. And unfortunately, Tyler he passed away. It's very tragic, but he was a wonderful actor and a really intense, committed guy. And we had really good time together, kind of play acting these scenes. And even though I'm kind of, cat and mouse game, almost torturing him in the scene, you could say, me and him got along great, and we were having so much fun. And um those scenes were original. It was funny, those scenes were originally written very differently, in
Oh,
terms of the method, in terms of the methodology, in sense of, originally, like in the scene, Alex has a gun, in the movie, my
okay.
character, and sort of intimidating the guy with a gun. And there's a
Yeah.
game of, there's certain things that happen with the gun. I won't give anything away, but it's kind of like a very kind of refreshing take on a scene like that, of a guy interrogating somebody. But in the script, the first draft we had, it was a shank. And then, the director and me and the writer consulted. We're all talking. We said, and this was like on the day, where we were like, I think that the Alex's weapon is a gun. He's not really like a get his hands dirty kind of guy. So we didn't actually think that the knife was something that he would have, or that he would kind of use. It would just, if he's holding a gun the whole movie, we were like, okay, we'll just use a gun. So from there, that was really cool to see Ryuhei's instincts, because suddenly he's like, well, what if we do this kind of game? And then pushing the game further and further. And so, it's a big part of the scene, but it's a really cool example of how a filmmaker can kind of be on his toes in the moment, and working with me, and we can kind of like solve a puzzle, pretty quickly, and not only solve the puzzle, but like we're restructuring, the scene around the game in a way. And he was so good with that. He rolled with that so quickly, and I think it turned into like kind of a really kind of memorable couple scenes with me and Tyler, who was just a wonderful guy.
That's incredible. Well, Emile, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me about The
Yeah,
Price We Pay. Everyone, it is now available on VOD. It's coming to select theaters on January 13th.
sweet. Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Julie.